Battle of the Valerik River, July 1840, Russia. Battle between forces of the Imperial Russian Army and North Caucasian mountaineers, ongoing since 1815. The Russian horse artillery, with 14 large cannons, 2,000 infantry, and 1,400 cavalry. Dagestan-Chechnya rebels, a force of 6,000 to 7,000 fighters. Background: Russian commander and cadet on their mounts. Unidentifiable background sound. Young cadet: "Sir, reporting for duty, sir." Commander: "Welcome, son." Young cadet: "Sir." Young cadet's head shattered, ripped apart by enemy bullet. Commander's face covered in blood. No sense of shock or surprise. Wipes blood off his face, his uniform, his pipe. Commander: "Welcome to hell, son." Background sound explodes into rocketing cannon fire. Cannonballs streak through the sky, crash everywhere. Troops blown apart. Others desperately fire back before the next assault. Large expanse of pitted, trenched flatland holds thousands of Russian and Chechnya bodies in a twisted mix of flesh, bone, decay, mixed with the blood-soaked, blackened earth. Feeding maggots and rats crawl in and out of every part of the empty cradle of man and animal. Smoke from fires obliterate the sun. Scattered troops fill their cannons, fire towards the enemy on the mountain, stationed in tall trees, 30 men per tree. The rebels double-load their weapons, fire at the same time. The sky rains a hailstorm of bullets, strikes the Russian artillery in a sudden, uncanny, devastating manner. Commander on his mount, hit by a flood of bullets, brings instant death to animal and man. No glory, no fear, no surprise. Soldiers who try to help the wounded are met with death. The best that can be done is to hide behind the dead. Young soldiers huddled in a trench, bayonets in place, pack weapons for an unseen enemy. Cadet 1: "I can't sleep. I have bad dreams. I've wet myself. Oh God, I hate myself." Cadet 2: "I dream of potatoes, big potatoes. I eat my potato, then I become a potato. I'm eaten by a potato. I don't know. What means this?" Cadet 3: "I dream of my sweetheart, my love. Her beautiful eyes. We're going to get married soon, have a baby we love." A stray bullet rips into Cadet 3's skull, exiting out his eye. He falls over dead. Without commotion, the others lift up his lifeless body, stack him on top of their dead comrades. Pajorn rides up. "Sir!" salutes commanding officer. Commander: "Ride over to the easterly flank. All hell is breaking loose. Our men are surrounded." Pajorn: "Sir!" Pajorn rides off, crosses the Valerik River through the Chechnik forest. A chain springs into place. His horse crashes forward. Pajorn flies over his horse's head into the blood-soaked mud. He jumps up, grabs his saber, ready for the fight. All hell breaks loose. Out of the bush come 4 rebels, sabers in hand. Pajorn fights back viciously, wounds one, topples the head off another. Surprised by a rebel, Pajorn falls. As he does, he thrusts his saber into the enemy's groin. He gets up, looks around, sees twisted bodies in the mud, rebels all dead. Then the click of a rifle being cocked breaks the stillness of the day. Standing a few feet in front of him is a wounded rebel. Pajorn goes over to his saber, picks it up, faces his enemy, walks towards the rebel. The rebel's rifle held high. He fires. Bullet grazes Pajorn. Pajorn does not acknowledge the hit. Bjorn stands directly in front of the rebel, his saber at his side, almost casually. The rebel manages a slight smile of relief. Suddenly, Bjorn slices his saber into the rebel, severing him from the top waist down, an eerie look of surprise on the rebel's face as his top half topples over. Bjorn looks around at the carnage, notices a wildflower in the thicket, picks it, smells it, throws it away. The heel of his boot crushes it into the blood-soaked mud. Bjorn binds his still-smoking wounds with his bloody shirt, sees his loyal steed awaiting its next command, mounts his horse, continues on his journey. Bjorn reaches the easterly flank where the mountains and forest are shrouded in an eerie, misty haze of burning bodies obliterating the sun. The Valerik River, covered with hundreds of bodies, Russian and Chechen. The river flows with the blood of the dead. The lingering stench of death is everywhere. Body parts, heads, arms, legs seem to be keeping with the rhythm of the currents as though performing the Bolshoi ballet of evil. There is a stillness in all this death, a single moment in time of quiet before the roar of hell. Bjorn jumps off his steed, hurtles himself into a muddy trench full of dead, weary, wounded soldiers who pray for death to knock on their door. Bjorn, where's your captain? Cadet 4, over there. Cadet points to a mound of bodies. Well, who's in charge? What's wrong with you, man? I said, who's in charge? Well, you are. You're in charge, sir. Cadet 4 continues to laugh. Just then a storm of Chechen warriors, screaming, shouting prayers to Muhammad, come crashing through the forest, charge the Russians. Those who can fire back do, but just as quickly as shot, fall over dead. Others unwilling to die, too afraid to fight, simply await death. Bjorn, shocked by this certain death. Bjorn, men, get up, fight! Fight for your life! Fight for Russia! Bjorn goes over to those still alive, grabs them, pulls them up. Get up, men, and fight. Fight for your wife. Fight for your children. Fight for Russia. Fight for freedom! Men, fight for freedom or it's death. Follow me, men. You who can fight, follow me. All of you brave men who cannot fight, get your saber, hold it up, and wait for a Chechen to fall on it. So fearful he will be of you, a Russian warrior. Come on, men. Fight for freedom or it's death. Fight! Bjorn, saber in hand, climbs out of the trench, charges the screeching group of Chechen warriors. The cadets follow, others stay behind on top of the ridge, rifle in one hand, saber in the other. Bjorn pulls a Chechen off his horse, slicing his head off as he falls, turns, swings his saber at 2 riders, one on each side, catches one in the arm, slicing it off, the other by the leg, cutting it off and mortally wounding the horse. Suddenly, the crack of a gun being fired, the bullet tearing into Bjorn's arm, another crack. The bullet tears into Bjorn's side. Bjorn falters, but then charges the rest of the mounts, one by one, rips them off their saddles, cutting into them with his dagger, one after another. Losing his sense of humanity, Bjorn stabs a Chechen warrior over and over and over and over again until his lifeless body is perforated with tiny holes as spouts of blood shoot up and out of the corpse. Bjorn turns to his right, his left, behind him, everywhere. All 25 of the Chechen warriors dead, twisted in a pile of mud and blood. All but 2 of the Russian soldiers that fought with Bjorn dead. The others on the ridge of the trench, some wounded, some dead, with Chechens impaled on their saber, stare in silence at Bjorn and the carnage he has left behind. Bjorn, wounded, goes to a snorting, roaring stallion, mounts it. Blood from Bjorn's wounds leaves an eerie mark of death and battle over his snow-white stallion's body. The horse rears up, twists and turns. Freedom or it's death! The men on the ridge shout back, weapons raised above their heads. Freedom or it's death! Freedom or it's death! Freedom or it's